Hello everyone and welcome to Stokes' Look at Ground Combat. This tutorial will focus on things that help you kick butt on the ground. My name is Chris.
I'm Jeremy.
Hey there, Jeremy.
Hi.
Why don't we jump off with a little bit of ground combat tips. Now, I know you got all kinds of stuff lined up, so let's start banging through this thing.
All right, well the first thing I want to talk to you a little bit about is equipping your bridge officers for ground combat. As you will probably have noticed by now, every weapon that you pick up in the game has a secondary attack.
What is a secondary attack?
A secondary attack is what is bound to your number 2 button by default, and it will be anything ranging from a special sniper shot to a whole mess of things. But I just want to make sure that people understand that each weapon will have either an expose or an exploit.
Okay.
The expose-exploit system is really simple. When you use an item that exposes somebody, they will then start taking extra damage. But also, if you exploit them while they are exposed, you have a chance of just obliterating. Vaporizing them. I'll try to do that a bit in this tutorial to show you the awesome effects.
Heck yeah.
So make sure that your ground combat officers have a good mix of expose and exploit weaponry, so that anytime you go up against somebody, you have an opportunity to have them vaporize them. Now,
the expose and exploit, you were saying one of them you don't know exactly when it's going to happen, so you shouldn't bank on that so don't pick a weapon based just on that.
Well, the expose combat, the expose abilities, your bridge officers will just kind of use at random. They'll just shoot them when they got them.
That's the expose.
Yeah.
So don't equip a weapon just because it can do that expose thing, because you don't know when they're going to actually do it.
Right.
Gotcha.
The expose, or when you equip somebody with an exploit weapon, they'll try to save them until things become exposed. So they're a little smart on that. If you, like me, have ever been stuck in this predicament where you beam down to a planet and you have no away team, there's a quick little trick you can do. If you type in /fill pet team list, there it did. So just like that, and you see they spawned right there, standing right there on top of me. One more quick tip about equipping your buffs: if you give them things like hypo sprays and stuff like that down here, power cells, that kind of stuff, they'll automatically use these anytime you get into combat to buff themselves up. Don't give them things like food, because they will use them immediately, and food buffs only last a couple seconds.
Oh.
So it's just a waste. Hold on to food for yourself, because you can trigger it as you want to. Don't give them tribbles either, because they'll just sit there and pet them. Waste of time.
I don't know.
It is kind of funny to give your entire bridge crew tribbles, run into battle, and watch them go, oh, look! And just start petting them.
I do like the idea of that.
Okay, so I think that's it for equipping them. What do you say we go ahead and hop into battle here?
All right. So what map are you on right here?
This is a map called the Guardian's Gambit. This is in a story arc called The City on the Edge of Never.
Love this
Some of this ground geometry you might recognize from the PAX footage.
Yep.
Kind of a reuse of this tile set, going up against some Klingons there in the distance. Now, one of the things that I want to mention right off the bat is the aim method.
Okay.
By pressing the C button, you can go into aim mode. Anytime you're using a range button, this is a great way to get the first shot in on combat, because if you've got a powerful enough weapon, you can just kill somebody in one shot. Great way to weed out their numbers.
Plus, it's a little more first-person shooting when you go into.
It's kind of fun. It kind of feels epic. And so here's
you'll
what I'm
stay that way until you hit it again.
Until you toggle with the C button.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll on into combat and blast that guy.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. Now I'm going to stick with. Oh, there's a little slowdown here. If you notice, there's one guy that has been exposed.
Yeah, that's what that orbiting thing is.
So if I didn't do it fast enough. If I would have used the exploit,
that would have been when you could have done the mega damage.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. Now, if you press G, you'll always target the nearest exposed enemy.
Oh, good tip.
Use your exploit, vaporize.
Vaporize, nice.
You want to trigger your other buffs as you go along. If you notice, my bridge officer over there is exposed. He could get vaporized.
That slacker.
Yeah, he's not doing his job. I'm going to finish off these Klingons, and then I'll get to some more tips for you. So just sit tight and watch the fireworks for a little bit here.
The G button targeting the nearest exposed, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I love hearing that tip. That's a good one.
You can rebind that if you have a button on your mouse that you would rather use. I would recommend it, because I don't like where the G is right now.
Yeah, I've got a couple of buttons I'm not using on my mouse right now. I might do that.
Okay.
All right.
Ground combat has finished. Now, a few tricks that you can do to make ground combat go a little easier is to actually micromanage your buffs.
Oh, okay.
You can do this in a few different things. First of all, you always want to have a science officer when you go down solo, because they always start out with a tricorder heal. which is great for keeping you and your entire team on their feet.
So the maps where you can only bring down one boss would be...
you should count on bringing a science officer.
Okay.
Unless you yourself are a science officer.
Okay.
Then it's kind of up to you.
Okay.
But one thing you can do to make sure that your buffs are going to heal you is over here on the left-hand side are a number of buttons you can use to control your bridge officers. The topmost on each of these will set them into passive mode. You can do it for your entire team if you want.
Right.
Although that's probably not a good idea because then nobody will attack but you. But you can do it on your individual basis. So Raul here is my science officer. If I set him to passive, now all he will do is run around and heal my team. He won't attack. He won't use his cooldowns. He'll just heal.
Will he still attack if he gets attacked?
No, he's completely passive.
Wow.
I can do the same thing if I want with my engineering officer.
Right.
And then all he'll do is his special shield regeneration.
You notice that those icons, the buttons icons, match the power presets in space for your ship.
Yeah.
The defense and the attack and things like that.
So it's a nice little,
Little visual
bit of uniformity. These buttons at the top are also really handy. When we get up to the next group, I'll show you something that you can do.
All right.
First of all, this one here assigns a waypoint for your entire team, a rally point. If you click on that, you will then have, there's a nice little glow effect. I haven't seen that before. Probably because your computer's better than mine. But you can tell your people where to run. So and they will sprint to this location very quickly.
I like that.
Zoom.
Looks like you can set a rally point for each one if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can set an individual rally point here.
That is cool.
And just have one officer. That's really fun to do if you have a sacrificial Bajoran. You can send that one straight into combat all alone.
That makes sense. I can see why you'd want to do that.
Anytime you want to cancel them, you just right-click the rally point, and they will come running back to you in just a second.
And you could right-click the rally point. Even if you have each one set individually, you can still right-click that one rally point and clear all of them.
Yep. So that's handy if you want to set up flanks. Like right now, I could choose to pause the zone by pressing the T button. I'll set up a flank with Raul. Actually, Raul will stay here because he's my healer. I'll send Landon over to this side. Cormac will go right there. And Secunda will run to the opposite end.
Oh man, that's great.
When I unpause, they will go running off to their locations.
Look at them reporting for duty, right?
And get ready to attack. Now, if I highlight one of these officers and click the attack button,
everybody shoots that one guy.
You'll see the Roman numerals list the 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Unpause. They'll all start attacking that guy. They might need to run to a better location to start doing it, but they will all go for it. Now I'm going to switch to my martial arts because I think it's fun and run right up in here. Start kicking some butt. The rally points are really handy for doing, like I said, flanking damage. If you'll notice, these guys are getting flanked all over the place.
Yeah, and you definitely
going up over their heads.
The flanking damage is definitely worth it.
It's really noticeable. I'm gonna vaporize this guy with my bare hands. I didn't get it in time. Darn.
Hi-ya!
Another thing you can do as a captain is you always have 2 weapons available, so you can switch between them. If you use a weapon with an exploit, you can always switch to it and vaporize somebody really quickly on the fly. That's why I also like to use pistols on my captain as a secondary weapon, is because their special attacks have really fast cooldowns.
Yes.
And if it's an exploit on the secondary, then it's really fast vaporizes. You might notice this big shockwave coming out from my character every once in a while. That's just a shield buff that I have.
There is a hotkey to swap your weapons. What was it? Did you mention it?
Z. You press Z to swap your weapons. Now I'm back to martial arts again. My bridge officers are not very skilled. This combat is lasting forever. But there, I can get that guy out of there. Vaporized.
Nice. There is a certain satisfaction when somebody vaporizes.
It really is, and if you guys can probably hear it. And I'm not playing with sound on right now, but that little it's really satisfying. So, Chris, is there anything you think I might have missed in this so far?
No. I think the one thing that a lot of people need to do more of is the placing of the rally points.
Yeah,
because you can really get a lot more.
You can set up that flank damage very easily.
That combined with zone pausing, and you've noticed that your zone pause timer is almost completely reset back to 45 minutes or 45 seconds.
Yeah, it'll come back really quickly. Oh, did you see my my bridge officers just vaporized somebody?
That's nice.
So another few things that I want to mention that you might have noticed is you can roll. This gives you a slight defensive buff when you do it, and a timer will pop up telling you when you can roll again.
Yep.
And now the buff doesn't last as long as the timer, so you can't keep the buff up constantly, but it is kind of fun, especially if you keep getting attacked by baddies that like to come into melee range.
Yeah.
Rolling away from them is a really great way to give yourself not only a few seconds breathing room, but also a slight defensive buff.
Yep.
It will not save you from a sword master, but it might save you from just a regular Klingon warrior. Let's see. Can you pull up the notes here? I want to make sure that I've gotten everything that I want to tell people about.
So you got the UI tips, tactics, roll away, shield generators. Do you want to talk about shield generators?
Well, the shield generators are from your engineering crew.
Blow them up.
Basically, all I wanted to mention there is the fact that you can set your engineer to passive with that button again.
Okay. And why would we want the engineer to be passive? So he just works on creating shield?
He will buff up your shields. He's basically a healer for your personal shields, which are really good against energy weapons, but not so good against melee weapons like sword masters.
Gotcha.
I hate sword masters.
So that's an interesting point. So that way your engineer isn't busy with combat.
Yes.
So you could do the science officer and make him busy with healing, and you can make your engineer busy with repairing shields. Do you find though that then you don't have enough people with guns on the ground?
Well, like you might have just seen, the ground combat does last a little time. I would highly recommend something I wasn't doing, which is picking your targets with this little reticle icon up here in the top left.
So everybody's focusing on one target.
Yeah, when you, at all times, pick your target and make everybody focus. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just so spread out. Combat goes on forever, and it's not so much fun. Now, something you want to keep in mind with engineer shield generators, though, is that they do explode. They can be killed.
Oh.
They have quite a bit of hit points, but
when they explode, they do quite a bit of damage to people in range.
Yeah, it's almost like a grenade to anybody that was standing in the shield generator's area of effect. So that's something to keep in mind for ground PvP, though. If you see a shield generator go up and a bunch of people cluster around it, kill that sucker.
Get a whole group there. Nice. All right. Well, that wraps up our look at ground combat. Now, if you've got any suggestions or requests for tutorials that you'd like to see, hit us up at... Boy, we should change this email address, but it's tips@jupiterbroadcasting.com. Yeah. And also, we've got a force all put together. It's Jupiter Force, and you can go to jupiterforce.org/forum for feedback on, or actually for fleet interactions, and for feedback on episodes and other show-related comment discussions and things like that. You can do that over in our colony. That's jupitercolony.com. That's where we'll be posting things like this episode.
All over the internet.
We are all over the place. We've got lots of colonies and orgs and comms and nets. But Jupiter Colony was where the discussion thread on this very tutorial will be. So if you have specific feedback, maybe there's something you think we missed, jupitercolony.com will be the place to do that.
And keep in mind that an MMO is a living product. There's a lot of things, especially the UI may change down the road. Yeah. It may get to the point that we want to do a new ground tutorial down the road. So if there's something that you think that we just glaringly missed, let us know.
Let us know. We can always do another one. Yeah. There's always things that'll change. And I mean, we were actually going to record this 3 days ago before a patch and then decided to wait because so much
And it's a good thing we did.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining us in this episode. Check jupiterbroadcasting.com for future STO tutorials.